Hey guys, how are you? My name's Krista Deary. I'm gonna go as fast as I can, rapid fire, through our story. I'm a mom of 7, like some of the others here tonight. And when I first heard about Plexus, I didn't hear it in such a cool way as this event tonight. This is so fun, so informative, so cool. But when I first heard about it, it was just from a friend of mine. We kind of knew each other. We were both shy introverts, but she had been following my journey on Facebook with our special needs son named Judah. And she reached out. She knew I was dealing with PTSD flashbacks. That's all she really knew, was all I had really let people in on as far as my health journey was concerned. What she didn't know is we had just had our 7th baby, and I was spiraling pretty quickly in postpartum issues, really losing my identity in depression and anxiety, PTSD flashbacks that were just exasperated. They were all that much bigger, my flashbacks, because of my hormone imbalance. I was a hot mess, basically, is how to sum up who I was. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know why I was here. I didn't want to be here anymore. I lost my identity and was spiraling out of control pretty quickly. But when she first reached out to me, I was a total snot and told her I wasn't interested. I really wanted nothing to do with it. And I blew her off for 4 months. 4 months. But I gave in. October 2014, I spiraled to the point of, without saying a word, grabbing the keys, walking out my front door, and leaving our family, to paint a very clear picture of where my thoughts were at, okay? It was very dark, and I felt I had no purpose to my life, that my kids needed a different mom, my husband needed a new wife, and I needed to find a way to escape. I got in my car and just began to drive. I felt empty and depleted, confused and lost, and was trying to figure out where to go. I'm ditzy, so I didn't figure that out. My family lived in Washington and I was in Florida, so that's a long drive, and I was totally broke. But I also contemplated crashing our car. I gave in and came back home hours later to find a very broken husband on our couch, our kids in bed. And it gets me every time, and my husband saying, I didn't think you'd come back. And I really had to sit down and be honest and real with him and say, I didn't want to come back. I don't want to be here. I need you to help me to find a way to leave. And you need to know my thoughts are really dark. He knew I was struggling. That was very evident. I was just this empty person trying to fake it for my kids. But he didn't know that it had gotten that far. And so we were trying to figure out what to do. We had tried everything. I love natural health. I was on a lot of supplements, B12 injections, progesterone cream, thyroid medication, essential oils. I was like dousing myself in essential oils, waiting for something to work. Nothing was working. It should have been a wake-up moment for me because I was spending way too much money on that stuff that we did not have. We were living on fundraisers at the time, had barely come off of food stamps, and had gone through a huge financial crisis. And of course, with a special needs son, that exasperated it even more. But I remember sitting down with Chad and saying, you know, there's this girl, her name's Heather, and she told me there's this pink drink, and she thinks it could help me, and I know they have a 60-day money-back guarantee. And Chad, being the money guy, he's like, you know, is that cheaper than a doctor? We were paying cash still for doctors. And I said, yeah, it is. And so we made a deal. We made a deal that I would try it for 60 days, and if it didn't work, I'd get my money back, and I would see a doctor or check myself in somewhere, and I would go ahead and get on some sort of depression or anxiety medication, which in my mind just didn't offer me help. I knew it wasn't going to heal me. I needed healing. I needed my life back. So I began to consistently take Plexus Slim. Just the pink drink is what I started on. I started in November, and around the end of December is when my husband looked at me from across our kitchen and said, I have my wife back. I haven't seen you like this in years. And my kids were making comments saying, Mommy, remember how you used to cry every day? And now you don't cry every day. And I was noticing silly things like I didn't eat chocolate like crazy. I'm realizing now, looking back, I was such an emotional eater. I was healthy in the fact that I liked natural food. I wasn't healthy, but I liked natural food. But I could put sugar down pretty quick if I was having a rough day. So anyways, I was coming out of this dark cloud. I felt present in my home again. I was laughing, like true, genuine laughter. I was silly with my kids. I could tell that the carpet needed vacuumed, and I could go grab my vacuum cleaner and I could vacuum it. And I was literally like, Chad, look at me, I'm vacuuming the carpet. He was like, way to go, babe. But y'all, that's how bad it had gotten. I was checked out from life. Chad and the kids were running our home. Chad, now he'll talk about freely that he was wondering, was he either going to lose me to death, or was he going to have to divorce me just to spare the kids what they were seeing and the way it was going? And I also remember too, just looking at our life, first of all, realizing we don't have like the worst life in the world. I have these beautiful children. They range in age from 15 down to 3 now. But I still have a hard life. I have a son that's 6 who functions like a 6-month-old. He has cerebral palsy, epilepsy, hydrocephalus, CVI, among other things. His charts are thicker than the size of Texas. I don't even know. Life isn't easy. He functions like a baby. We do everything for him, and can have up to 100 seizures a day in a 24-hour period. But I was able to see, yep, my life is kind of still hard, but I was able to handle it. It's hard, but we've got this. Instead of, it's hard, and I'm going to spiral out of control and just go into fetal position and cry in my bed, you know? It gave me my life back to the point that it was shocking. Like, how in the world does that happen? I mean, honestly, the last thing, if this had been on the shelves, I never would have tried it. I am so thankful that they have turned this into a direct sales company rather than just sticking it on the shelf at Target, because there's stories, there's real stories and real people's lives behind this, and it has been the best journey. It was out of that passion of what happened to my life, the freedom that I found, that I just naturally began to share. I had to share. All I knew is, what if there was one mom out there who was also struggling with depression and anxiety, just like I was, who was doing it in secret, not telling a soul because they felt shame and they were embarrassed and they felt all alone and isolated. What if there's one mom? Then I will get out of my comfort zone, get over my pride, get over my fear of what people will say, and I will share my story. And that's what I've done now for the last almost 3 years. And out of that, God provided a financial breakthrough for our family that we've prayed for. Oh, I'm going to cry again, for over 10 years. My husband's home full time with us. What it has done for our lives, it's changed every part, from my health to my husband's health, my children's health, my sanity, my mental stability. I've grown as a person, and I've grown in friendships. Of course, our finances have grown, but it's who you become in the process that's so much more important than just the money and the free cars or trips, right? So I just want to encourage you today, you really have nothing to lose and everything to gain. And what if this could be the very last thing that you ever have to try? Because for me, it was. Everything else that used to be in my cupboard is now gone. I'm off of all of it, and it has truly changed our lives in every sense of the word, or in every way, or whatever. See, if this ditzy mama can do it, I'm telling you, anybody can do this. So give it a shot. Watch your life completely change. Be coachable. Reach out to the person that invited you here. And I'm excited for your journey to begin. Love you guys. We'll talk to you soon.